Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Easy Does It, a podcast created specifically for the amazing members of the MJ team. Rob and I are back with you again, excited for another great episode. We have a guest in the house today, and we are very excited to have him back on the podcast. Now that we have it in video, you can see him live and in person. Not really live, but in person nonetheless. Okay, Rob, tell us. Who's with us today?
Who do we have? We have a super special guest. It's the CB Radio King. It's the Rake Stepper. He can tell you that story later. The Pop-Tart Master, Brandon Anderson.
It's good to be here.
Yeah, it's good to have you.
Yeah.
Yes. So we've had Brandon on before, but that was when we were up in Rob's office doing the best we could with what we had. And so during that episode, I think we got to know you a little bit better. And now one thing that we've talked a lot about is using the podcast a little bit more intentionally this year to get some information out to the company. And so we're going to do a better job of getting you on here so that people can hear from you. So we're excited to talk about some different things today than we did the first time.
And they get to see me, which we didn't on the first podcast.
Yep.
A little disappointed, though. I mean, traditionally when I'm on camera now with Corey, I usually have my makeup done. So a little disappointed y'all put me on camera without getting rid of this blemishes that we have.
Listen, from the very beginning, I roll up in here with my makeup bag, my hairspray, because I'm like, I just need to do a few touch-ups before I'm like, okay, where's the makeup and hair? But it's just right over there in the bathroom.
You hadn't shared that with me a single time since we've been here. That's messed up.
Yeah, I know. I'm in there doing makeup and hair if you're interested.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you do have to do the Would You Rather. So Rob has prepared that for us today. So what do you have?
Well, speaking of Pop-Tarts, all right, here we go. Would you rather have Pop-Tarts cater your wedding or have a Pop-Tart themed birthday party every year?
I think I would want to have it every year.
Yeah?
Yeah. Different flavor every year, different types every year.
I don't know that you can change from brown sugar cinnamon.
Well, I mean, I might not, but for the guests.
Yes.
For the guests.
He's like,
I mean,
hold
we have
on,
to
I
have
got one right
strawberry.
here.
I think I would probably say the same. I think birthday every year. I don't know exactly how you would do that at a wedding.
Maybe it could be your cake. Or it could be like the center of the table when everybody sits down.
Cake would be a good idea.
Yeah.
Brown sugar cinnamon cake.
Ooh, yum. That
Yeah.
does sound good. Have you all ever seen, hear me clearly say, I don't watch enough football, but the Pop-Tarts Bowl?
Yeah.
When they play the Pop-Tarts Bowl, Pop-Tarts goes all out. They like make a real Pop-Tart come out, like not a real Pop-Tart, but right there on the field. I guess you could do something like that for your wedding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not?
I like the idea of having different flavors every year for your birthday.
Yeah, little ones, big ones.
Yes.
All different kinds. Cupcakes.
Yeah.
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 Pop-Tart cupcake.
There's ice cream now.
What?
Is there really?
There's Pop-Tart ice cream.
I've never heard of such.
Are you making this up?
Nope.
I've never seen that.
Oh, they're not that good, but they're out there.
Yeah, I feel like since we've started with the Pop-Tart piece, I've been paying more attention to the flavors, like as I go by that aisle in the grocery store. So it is interesting. Pop-Tarts, man, they just keep on giving.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how many flavors they have until we did a commercial, and you would not believe the amount of people that come up and say, I can't believe you like brown sugar cinnamon. I like the Superman flavor. And I'm like, I've never even heard of this.
What is that even? Yeah. Uh-huh. Well,
I can't get down with the s'more flavored one. I like actual s'mores, like the real ones, but I've tried the Pop-Tart and I'm like, this just ain't it.
yeah.
I tell you what's really good is toaster strudels. I can't stop with those. Those I will annihilate a whole box. My mom used to be so mad. She'd buy me a box and then she's like, I'd go in there and I would make 3. So I'd get 3 and I would make them, for breakfast. And then, you put the little stuff on the top and I would go in there for day 2 and I'd eat 3 more. Well, you know how many come in a pack? 6. And so she's like, you already done in 2 days? I'm like, Mom, we're going to have to go back to the store tonight.
She's like, no.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Did you have enough icing for all of them?
I think they have 1 pack per one. So, but it's still like, I'm like, you can always use a little bit more icing. Mm-hmm. But the trick was, because you keep them in the freezer, you have to take the little icing packs and you would What are you
You
doing?
have to warm them up.
With your hands?
Yeah.
You put them on top of the toaster while it's down in there, and it heats it up just enough to where it's warm to where it's not frozen no more.
I just rubbed it between my hands.
You're welcome.
Yep. There we go. There's
You're welcome.
all kinds of breakfast pastry information coming here this morning. Okay. Well, you didn't say
Oh,
wedding or year.
I would probably go with the wedding. I'd probably go with the birthday.
Yeah.
I think that would be good. Switch it up, have a little something different every single year. It'd be like a good tradition.
Yeah. Mila's birthday's coming up next month. Maybe I'll tell her I've decided what we're going to do.
Yeah.
We have plenty of Pop-Tarts. I mean, plenty. We can
be
help.
free.
We can help.
Okay. Good to know.
The electricians did a scavenger hunt a little while ago, maybe like a month ago. And I just walked in the door, and these fools are running around everywhere. Like there was a fight in the hall. Like people are trying to find these Pop-Tarts in the building. Somebody had 3D printed a bunch of like little Pop-Tarts and hid them. They're 50 in the building, and so these fools was running around trying to find them. And so I hopped on my adventure too. But somebody had made a big like 3D printed Pop-Tart and like hung it on the tree or whatever we had in the main hall. And I was like, I'm about to steal that and wear that around for the day. It was on like a chain, like it was a necklace. It's crazy.
I have a few of them if you want one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a
Like,
I'll see you later.
yeah. Like Flavor Flav instead of a clock.
Yeah.
Pop-Tart.
Yeah.
But what other organization do you hear of 50 Pop-Tarts hidden around the building?
Yeah.
And you have employees running around the building trying to find these Pop-Tarts.
Yeah.
Yep. It's awesome. I don't even really know who is behind all this 3D printing, but whoever it is bringing some life and joy.
Yeah.
Like people are walking, looking for ducks, looking for, all different types of things.
Yeah.
And it's just cool that somebody even takes the time to do that and to walk around and hide them. It's really cool.
Yeah. I think there's a dueling battle. I think there's two people that have 3D printers, and one will make some series of items and then somebody else will make the other. So it's always an adventure every day.
Yeah. 3D printing too is just, that's amazing to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's another rabbit hole. We won't go down that. We'll leave it at breakfast pastries for today. Okay, so while we have Brandon with us here today, there's been some phrases that people have probably heard or seen coming up around the building, maybe in newsletters and meetings, that type of thing. One of them happens to be our theme for this year. So we thought it would be something worthwhile for us to just chat a little bit about what does that theme mean to you? What does it look like in the organization? And then our last newsletter, the February newsletter, was about MJ Easy. So we thought we would kind of talk about how those things go together so that people have a little bit more perspective, a little bit more information around our theme, which is Run the Play, and then also MJ Easy. So I guess we'll start with Run the Play. Okay. You me go?
Go.
Great. Okay, so I guess my first question is, in your own words, or if you were talking to a new hire or someone who doesn't have the context of Morris-Jenkins, how would you explain running the play?
That's a good question. Let me check my notes.
They're in your book bag.
Yeah, they're in my book bag somewhere. Well, we actually just talked about this at the President's Breakfast. 29 people came in, and we do this, about every 3 months, and we get all the new hires, and we give them the history, and we talk about, the executive team and everything that we believe here in Morris-Jenkins. And that was one of the questions that was asked this morning. What is Run the Play? And in the President's Breakfast, we have people in all different types of roles. Technicians, build a plumber, dispatch, all different types of roles. So it means a little bit different, something different to every role. But it's such a big statement, run the play. Like, what does that really mean? And most of the people in the organization, when we hear that, we just think it's for the field, right? That's our heavy concentration because we have so many people out in the field at customers' homes. But in reality, run the play means something to every single person in a role, right? We have processes, we have the way that we do things around here, the way that we serve our customers. So it's really looking at how can we partake in my role in running the play and making it easy, right? Because that's the purpose. The purpose is to make it easy for the customers to do business with us. So running the play isn't just some, piece of paper out of the box like this is making you a robot. Right, we want to give people autonomy, and how do we give them the autonomy to be unique in that role and identifying ways to make it even easier And sometimes we confuse run the play more with like we have to do this step and this step and this step and this step. And what happens whenever we get into that robotic mode, we take our brains out of it. We're not thinking about, does this make sense? Right? What can I do to improve it? What can I do to make it even easier for the customer? So it's a big topic. I mean, I feel like we could talk about this for multiple hours as we get into the lower level and more granular. So, I mean, we can continue talking about it.
But yeah, it even makes me think, typically we do think about the techs in the field. And even this year, as we've talked about it more and more, hearing and experiencing that it's in multiple different departments, I think it'd probably be helpful for us just talk about some examples. Since we do have a lot of people in the field that listen to this, what would run the play look like from maybe a field perspective, like an example of what that looks like?
Yeah, I mean, we're in people's homes every day, right? And I mean, we have 3 specific trades currently that we're doing. You got HVAC, plumbing, and electrical. So when an HVAC tech goes out and we might be doing a service for a maintenance customer or just running a brand new customer, running the play is looking at the whole home, right? Just because you're an HVAC tech doesn't mean that we don't educate, we don't have the training for them to be able to identify other areas in the home that the customer might need some assistance on that. So running the play would be looking at the whole home, being educated enough to be able to speak about what they're finding and provide those options for the homeowner. In our industry, I mean, traditionally an HVAC tech is going in and looking only at HVAC. And that experience for the homeowner, if they have other issues going on, is not a good experience at all. So for me, when you look at running the play, it's not just your area, right? What is it that the homeowner needs? What is it that they're looking for to improve in their lives? And can we help them? Not just the area that is your role, right? And if you think about like the contact center, they take thousands of phone calls. And not all those customers are just looking for service. They might have billing questions. They might have questions about inspections or permits. And to be able to run the play, we have to equip them to be able to answer that question instead of that channel switching or passing along to somebody else. So run the play is not just your role that you were hired for. It's not.
Yeah, and that too, I guess, you know me, I tried to compartmentalize run the play, MJ Easy in the way we're talking about it, but it, like you said before, how they go together. I think when we think about running the play, like you're saying, it is keeping that at the forefront, what makes it easy for the customer. I do think it's really interesting about, and I guess until I worked here, I didn't think about it as much, but when you don't know a lot about what's going on inside your home, like me, you know, I don't have a trades background. And so when I have an HVAC tech come into my home, then that person already knows light years beyond what I know. So I think when we talk about running the play, in turn, that ends up making it easy, you know, for the customer to be able to get all of those questions answered. Even if the HVAC tech is not the person who can take care of the plumbing, at least they can recognize something here ain't looking right.
Yep.
Let's see if we can figure out, we're here to help you be your home expert. I think so many customers, we're not home experts. Or I'm not a home expert. So it's really nice for someone to be able to come into my home and help me with all those things at one time, instead of me having to have this person out and this person out and this person out. So I think that is, I think that's a great example for us to be able to kind of work through this lens of what makes it easy for customers. What do you think gets in the way of running the play?
Human nature. I mean, if you look at run the play and discussing it this morning with the new hires, you can't run the play at work and not have a play at home, right? I mean, a lot of times when we say, I'm going to do my best when I get to the job, but a lot of that preparation and that mentality of running the play starts at home. Because in order for you, if you're an HVAC tech and you need to know all of the things in the home, you got to learn a lot. And that means that you got to learn those things not while you're on the job, right? You got to put in the work. And if you want to learn more about it, you have to do the studying. And I think that the human nature piece of it is, you know, I'll do a little bit at work to run the play. And then when I get home, I might not have a play to run. And if you don't have that play at home and at work, it's very hard to stay in that, you know, habit of staying disciplined of running the play. So it's all about, preparing for the call, preparing for your day. But if your home life's a mess, it's hard not to have a mess at work. So this morning we talked a lot about how do we make you better at home, and how do we run that play better as far as you learning and you growing as an individual, and then how do we take that and apply it to work, because it has to start at home first.
So you've been in maybe one or two roles here at MJ over the years. How has that changed? Like your vantage point of how you've envisioned and seen running the play from when you were on the front lines in the field until you're in your position now? I'm sure it's changed, but what does that look like for you?
I would say early on, coming to Morris-Jenkins, we didn't have a play. Right? I mean, everybody just kind of did what they, were supposed to based on what the manager set up in that department. Very siloed, it wasn't talked about. We didn't have a system to train people. It was just you hire people, you teach them the technical, and hope to God that they can talk to customers. So we've seen it change a lot over, my time here for 20 years. We put systems in place, processes in place, something that's repeatable that we can teach and that we can train, keep it out in front of people. But we've also put that across all departments, to where it's no longer one department does it one way and another one does it another. We still have that going on, but not like what it was, 10, 15 years ago. So, adapting over the years to be able to put that type of system in place provides that better experience for the homeowner. I mean, because we have an HVAC tech go out one day and you might have a plumber there the next day. Years ago, if you had two different trades or two different departments come to the home, it looked completely different. Completely different. Rob, I'm sure you experienced that. Right? You've had multiple roles here as well.
Yeah.
In one of them managing people and as a supervisor in the field, we would see that. You would see different plays ran from different people, even in the same department. So it has a massive impact for the homeowner.
Yeah, I've heard Mr. Jenkins talk about business personality disorder, which kind of sounds like what you're talking about. Can you say a little bit more about what that means and how running the play connects maybe to that?
Well, business personality disorder, I look at that and you have two different ways to look at it. You have what marketing is saying. Here's what the company is. Here's what shows up at your house. That's the image that we're putting out from a marketing perspective. And if we don't show up that way, obviously that's a personality disorder, right? Because we're saying one thing, doing another. But then if you look at it from, business personality disorder, when you're talking about multiple departments, right? That's internal.
Yeah.
Where we might have a customer that's been a maintenance customer, a Priority Advantage member for 10 years. They see that same play over and over and over and over when they have their maintenance done. In 2017, we start plumbing. And then they start having services from the plumbing department. Does that match what they've seen for the past 10, 15 years in HVAC? And that's the business personality internally, that sometimes that we fight. We try not to have that. You want that same experience no matter who is at the home.
Yeah.
So the business personality is two things, for me.
Yeah. Yeah, and I can see how, I guess, a benefit of running the play is helping the customer, but I guess also, too, is maybe the consistency that we then provide between departments when we're all running the play in an effort to make it easy for the customer as well. I think for the longest time, I thought, and maybe it does still mean this, but I just want to hear your thoughts on this too. I thought for the longest time that run the play meant run the service system. And I think that is probably part of it. But how, from your perspective, how does the service system fit into this running the play piece?
I would say run the play. That's kind of where it started, was with the service system. Prior to 2015, we didn't have any process for the techs really to go into a home and to run the call in a systematic way. It was just you get a call, however you run the call, it's fine with us. But in 15, whenever we put the service system in place, that's where it all kind of started with that consistency of showing up the same way when we go to a customer's home. So with it starting there, I understand why everybody thinks that run the play is the service system. But it's so much more than that because, I mean, you think about accounting, they have a play, right? They have to process all those work orders and the jobs that we go to and payment and invoices and everything else. They have a play. Is it as visible to the homeowner? No, not in all cases. But if they don't do it the right way every single time, there's an impact downstream somewhere. And ultimately, the customer will feel that. But the run the play, to me, is also not just like a process in accounting, process in the contact center. It's what we do at Morris-Jenkins. I mean, if you're walking down the building and you see trash on the floor, right, part of running the play of who we are and what we believe in is that I'm going to be the one to pick it up and put it in the trash can. Right? If you walk right past that piece of trash and you don't pick it up, that's not running the play. And I think sometimes we look at running the play only about the customer, and it's not just about the customer. Right? We have teams, we have big teams here, that there's a lot of things that happens behind the scenes that they have to have a play, they have to have systems, they have to have processes, that some of that the customer never even sees or never even is impacted by it. So that's where I'm saying run the play for me is like a massive topic. And it's not just a service system. It's not how we show up at the door. It's really like, how do we operate?
Yeah.
How do we operate as a culture?
It sounds like maybe we're saying that run the play is a culture.
Part of it, right?
Just hearing, I've heard where you walk through the parking lot and you pick up trash, or you can see people walk through the parking lot, look at it, and keep on rolling, and it's like, But just thinking that accounting has a process, every department, purchasing has a process, the techs have a process, and back even when I was a tech, it was run the play was run the service system. Where would you feel like that shift happened, where it's not just run the play in the field as a tech, to where it's now more of a cultural thing across the organization?
I think a lot of that has to go back to the departmental meetings, where we're getting the management team together and we're discussing it, to where some departments didn't have a play and some still need to create a better play, better processes. So I think by getting people together, teaching about it, talking about it, recognizing that we have a system in the field, but we don't have a lot of systems in the office. I think that bringing people together, that's the only way that you can actually get it widespread across the management team. If we didn't have those departmental meetings and actually talk about it, there would be no play. I was sitting at the Circle K out here on Tryon, right at like Westinghouse, and I was coming out of the Circle K, and at 4:30 or 5 to try to get on Tryon, to get out into the traffic, like it can take you a long time. Right, it'll take you a long time. And I was sitting there in traffic, and I'm just waiting for somebody to be nice to let me out. Unfortunately, nobody was, so I just continued to wait. And I saw one of our vans, and the van kept going. Now, what if I was a member? What if I was a potential customer? Run the play would be that courteous driver. Stop. Let them out. Recognize that you have 2 miles of traffic behind you, and let them out. That's what I mean, that run the play is so much bigger than, showing up at the customer's home.
Yeah. And I think this maybe kind of goes along with what Rob's asking here. So a theme, we choose themes, and we've done Run the Play before, and Run the Play came back for this year. Of all the things that could have been chosen, why did it feel like this was the right thing right now?
Because the service system has been in the field for 10 years plus, a little bit longer than 10 years, and all the other departments, like I said, they haven't had a play. This is kind of in their infancy. The last time we had Run the Play, it was all about the field. That was the theme. It was run the play, but it was to the field. We didn't discuss it really with other departments. But when you look at what impacts the field, what impacts the homeowner, what impacts our customers, all the plays behind the scenes from the support departments has a massive impact on it. So this year we wanted to have Run the Play for the entire organization and really put an emphasis on all departments. If they don't have a play, we need to create a play. We think that they don't have a play. It just may not be documented. We're doing something. We're doing processes. But we need to go back through those and make sure that is the correct play we're running to support the organization.
What's the risk of not running the play?
There's massive risk in not running the play. If you think about just the example that I gave about trying to get out in traffic, right? With all the trucks that we have on the road, And if we have every single person that's not going to be a courteous driver, they're going to be speeding or not letting people out, guys, that's a moving billboard. People will remember what that experience was, whether somebody let them out, gave them a polite wave, or if they just kept going and didn't let them out. So there's impact from a customer-facing standpoint. As far as running the play, it'll have impact from the customer journey, the customer experience, but also just how employees feel, because every department's passing work from one department to another. And if that play's not ran right, we all know what happens at the intersections, right? Crashes happen. We don't get the correct information passed over to the other one. It makes the job harder for the employees. So you have internal, problems that come from it, and you're going to have, the customers that are impacted by it.
Yeah. It's funny being here as long as really all of us have, you really get so used to how we do things and how easy we make it. And then the moment that you see things aren't easy, it just makes your eye twitch a little bit. My dad, he needed some help with his health care. He was in the hospital, and he's like, can you go to my house? They sent my information to my house. Can you pick it up and bring it to me? And I had already drove to the hospital. So I'm like, all right, so now I got to drive to your house. I try to get his information online, and he's like, I think this is my number. And so I look at him like, it's not. So we have to create an account. After I create the account, then you have to get the information, but you can't just request it. You have to call. There's no phone number on their website. I'm looking everywhere, and I finally find it. I can't register anything until I get his account number. And then I make the phone call, and then I get the gentleman on the phone, and I'll cut the story short. It's like 30 minutes, and he's like, who am I talking to? I can't give it to you. I have to give it to your dad. And I'm like, oh, he's right here. And then my dad's frustrated already. Finally, we get the account number just so that we could see what type of care he had. Like, it went back and forth, and we got transferred 4 times. And I'm sitting here, I still have my work clothes on, and I'm like, this is not making it easy at all. So there's plenty of recommendations I have for this said company, but what does it look like for Morris-Jenkins when everyone runs the play at every stop that the customer interacts with everyone? What would that look like in a perfect world?
If everybody's running the play, you're going to have happier customers. You're going to have happier employees. We're going to have lower costs, right? Because we're not having that rework, and it's cutting the time down in order to take care of the homeowner. It has a big impact in all of those things. If you look at most organizations, right, you're going to have one department that has a play, another department that has a play, and another department that has a play. It's just those departments never talk. They never know what is the play going from one department to another. So when you're disconnected that way, think about it on the receiving end. If I'm receiving information from the field, and let's just say I'm in purchasing, and this happens to us, we get the wrong information to order the part. That messes everything up downstream. Everything. Puts more work on purchasing, delays the repair for the homeowner, increases our cost because we're spending more time and resources to find the right information and order the part. So it has massive, massive impact when we don't run the play. And when we run the play, it also has a massive impact.
Mm-hmm. Either way, yeah. So I'm making some connections. If I could do what is it called again? I always say it wrong. GIF. Meme.
GIF? I don't know.
I don't either.
You're asking.
Don't ask.
Don't ask
him.
Don't ask me.
You've seen his PowerPoints.
Yeah.
I know it's not GIF. Okay, we're gonna go with GIF. It's like the guy when he's doing math, and it's like above his head. So I'm starting to make some more connections right now. So you've talked about running the play. Every department has a play. The processes and systems make up that play. So then processes and systems, of course, makes me think of MJ Easy. And kind of like Rob's example about having to go through all these 100 steps to get a single piece of information, right? That's not making it easy for the customer. So I think if I could, and correct me if I'm wrong, one of the things talking about how running the play and MJ Easy are making it easy for customers to do business with us. Maybe I should take a step back and try and define. I don't know if that's the right word. I know MJ Easy, you talked about MJ Easy in the February newsletter. And for our people who don't necessarily hear MJ Easy all the time, it directly ties to our purpose, which is to make it easy for customers to do business with us. It is one of our 6 fundamentals. And it's just our focus on making it effortless for the customer. Mm-hmm. So now I'm starting to see all of these things, these gears starting to interleave. So when we're running the play, we have our systems and processes in place in all departments, which then in turn helps us make it easier for the customer. And that's really what MJ Easy is. So for those people who don't have as much experience, I guess, around MJ Easy, I guess I'll ask the same question. How would you define what MJ Easy means to a new hire or someone who doesn't have as much experience here at Morris-Jenkins?
Well, when we first talked about the topic for today, we talked about run the play or MJ Easy. And I said, well, those are kind of, tied together because they are. And I want to go back to what either Rob asked or you asked a minute ago, but what does it look like when we don't run the play, or why does it happen? And, I said human behavior, but really how that happens is that we start to cut corners, right? You'll cut corners if you go to a house. You might not check a certain area or check a certain thing, and there was no impact. Customer didn't complain. They still had a happy service, left a good review, and then you go to the next call, and you cut a little bit more out, and then you cut a little bit more out, and then you cut a little bit more out. That's the human nature that I was talking about. When things are going well, you're more likely to cut a little bit of stuff out. And you don't realize you've cut it all out until you know that it's not running the play and you start getting complaints, and we know what that looks like. Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to clarify that piece of it. But MJ Easy, if you look at MJ Easy, there's kind of 2 parts that we've talked about, from the management side and what the management looks at. That is going through our processes and, looking at our systems and removing the complexity from the business, right? That's what the management team's been doing for the past few weeks. We've been talking about it in the departmental meetings. But from just anybody, frontline person or anybody else, when you think about MJ Easy, it's what can we do? Like, you're in a system. You're in a process. We're looking for those employees that are in that process, in that system, and says, hey, I think I can make this even better. I think I can make it easier for the homeowner. Where I was here waiting on a part, and it took me X amount of time to get the part, I have an idea of what we could do differently so that I'm not having to wait. That's running the play with an MJ Easy mindset. So when we talk about MJ Easy, it's more of a mindset of how we operate and what we believe in, more than just something straight out of a textbook, right? And I think that's what a lot of people look for is like, what does it say in the book? What's the definition? And it's really how we operate. It's how we operate around here. Yeah,
I always think of the analogy of we'll use a swan because that's what we are, as a swan, not a duck. Not that there's anything wrong with ducks, but I always think of it as like you see the swan on the water, and what the customer sees is we want to see the swan, the beautiful swan, just gliding along, right? And then under the surface is the rest of us behind the scenes, working through our processes. But the customer doesn't see those things. Mm-hmm. So when we spend time working through those processes and systems, maybe we don't have to flap so hard under the water, but at the same time, the customer, their experience should feel very smooth, very seamless. Mm-hmm. I remember Mr. Jenkins talking about, when a customer calls in, they just want their heat. They just want their heat to be turned back on or their air to be back, especially in the heat of the summer in North Carolina. So I think that is it's hard. I think sometimes in the day to day, to keep that top of mind. So what are your thoughts on how do we keep, in all the things that we have to do in the day to day, how do we keep that MJ Easy mindset front and center?
By staying very close to our frontline people. Because when you think about MJ Easy, and when we're talking about we want people to improve those processes, what can you bring to the table that will make it even easier? And we'll just look at the contact center. If we have contact center representatives going through processes and they're identifying, if somebody says, man, I'm having to click this 7 times to get to where I want to, get where I want to go. are they able to look at it and say, hey, I have an idea to get this down to 3? And that's what I mean by what we do around here, our culture and MJ Easy. If we were talking about just frontline people, and if we're talking about new hires and what it means, that's what we're talking about. If we have all of our employees thinking about how can we make it even easier, not only for my job, but maybe for the handoff of the intersections, everything's going to be so much easier. Too many times organizations, get too distant from the front line. And then whenever they have a contact center person say, hey, this has taken me forever to get my job done, they don't fully understand what they're doing. They don't fully understand their frustration. They don't fully understand what's going on. So for us, it's staying very, very close to the front line and having a true understanding of what does it take to do their job. We want to remove that friction as much as possible, because if we can remove the friction from them, it allows them more time to worry about the customer, and that's all that matters.
I'm just kind of over here chuckling to myself. It's called MJ Easy, and I wrote down, why is MJ Easy so hard?
It is.
I know we're undergoing a full focus on this right now with the departmental team and the organization, and it's easy. We talk about like, hey, you want to identify what's going on, map the process out, see what areas, and then just gather loads and loads of data. And it's funny that it's easy to want to jump in and solution, but I even think for our frontline and just anyone listening to this, it's like, I have a part to play in this. Everybody does. It's not just, it's got to be my manager, but just like you said, if you're a CSR and something is just like, why do we do it like this? Why is this so hard? I have to go to these 7 screens and then I have to move this over here just to book the call or just to help this customer. You have a part to play in it. Yep. And it's absolutely important that you do say something instead of just being like, well, it's just the way it's supposed to be.
Just keep clicking 7 times.
The most dangerous thing is asking somebody, hey, why do we do it like this? And then they repeat back, it's the way it's just always been. It's just the way it is.
And do we take all that information or feedback and, apply it, all of it? Do we apply all of it? No, we can't, right? But we do want to hear from every individual that, hey, I have an idea, or I think we can do this better. Doesn't mean we're going to implement it. It might not be the right time, or there might be some other things that we're focused on that if we make that change, it has a bigger impact. But I do think that that's where we could get better, right? We could get better at capturing more of that information and then really dissecting it and saying, okay, what makes sense for the full flow? It's not that, we're taking your idea or Timmy's idea and we, just picking and choosing, right? We need to get that information from the front line and then look at it and say, okay, how does that fit into our system? How does that fit into running the play? But we do need to get more of the frontline people giving their feedback.
Yeah.
Why do you think that MJ Easy is so hard?
I think life. I mean, when you think about just people going to work, I mean, they walk through this door and they have so much other stuff going on. And it's easy to get caught into the hamster wheel. We've talked about that before, where it's just, you go through the motions. I mean, all of us have driven home at one point and drove the last 4 miles, and it's like, I'm not sure if I stopped at a single stop sign, because you just go in that robotic mode. And I think that's what happens, in organizations. It's easy to just sit there and get in the motions and not recognize that it's taken 7 steps and can I reduce it down to 4? That's what I think happens more. I don't think that people come in here and say, I'm just not going to try to improve a system. No, I'm just not going to try to do a better job today. I just think life gets a hold of people. Yeah. And next thing you know, a few days go by and a couple weeks go by, and they're just caught in that system. It's being able to slow down and recognize, what impact am I having, or what impact is this system having on me, and being able to serve our customers.
Yeah. I know you've been to Disney before. I know you've been there. So it's we went there maybe a couple years ago, and I remember it's the first time we've ever stayed on property. And have you guys stayed on property of some sort? So we walk in. I forget the name of the place, but I just remember they come
Must
out.
not have been that good.
It was pretty decent, but I was blown away by the experience, because this wasn't like, what is it, the Grand Floridian or whatever one's close by. We were a little farther out, which was fun. But man, I walked in and the front desk person had just great energy. They asked us all kinds of questions, try to figure out what they needed to book the room for us. But I remember this just blew me away. And I don't know how long it took them to figure this out, but they said, here's your room key. It gets you into your room and everything that you need. If you need to buy anything while you're on property, just hand them your card. And I'm like, cool. And they're like, we'll just charge you later. I'm like, that's fine. That's super easy. And then when you go to the parks, you can use your room key to get into the park. I'm like, word? What are you talking about? I don't have to pull it. I know people like the wristband jazz, and I guess you can do the same thing with that. But that blew me away that was just made everything so much easier. I don't have to have 3 or 4 things. And it probably took them a while to figure out that this could be even easier for our guests. I wanted to ask you, Brandon, if do you have some type of vision for like what the next change would be, or the next thing that would just make this experience for our customers just so much easier? Do you have something that's been burning in your mind?
I mean, I wouldn't say I have one thing, it's burning in my mind. To me, it still goes back to, I feel like we're in the infancy of this. I mean, even though I've been here 20 years, y'all been here a long time, when you look at Run the Play, MJ Easy, all the things that we're talking about, they've been around a long time, but we haven't had like a full push, as much as we have right now, of really trying to touch everybody as far as what does it mean, how can I contribute, and how does it have an impact. So I don't really have one in particular thing. But if we'll go back to why is MJ Easy hard, and I told you that, I think that a lot of people just get caught up in life, and our homeowners are no different. I mean, you think when we're out at the house and they're having no AC or their toilets won't flush, they have a million things going on. So they don't have time to sit here and go back through everything 3, 4, 5 times, or for us to make it clunky. That's just kind of how society is right now, right? I mean, everything's fast moving. Our employees are sitting here booking a customer right now, but in the back of their mind, I got to be here at practice, or I got this tonight at dinner, or I got to go over here to Susie's, or whatever it may be. Our homeowners go through that the same way. So for me, that's where management can come in. Slow it down, ask how they're doing, how are we doing in the job, in your role, what can we do to improve it, and then taking that information and see if it makes sense and can we plug it in. Right. And that's what I mean as far as not getting too far from the front line.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Like I hear stories all the time. We see it in reviews all the time. And I think about myself as a homeowner, if, I didn't have heat or whatever it might be, and that technician went to one of our vendors and picked that part up so he could, come back, or she could come back and get me up and running, what that saves me as a homeowner. Like, I don't know what the next day looks like for me. It could be that I have to take somebody to school or take somebody to dance, or I might have something that I'm doing here at work and I can't miss that next day, or whatever the case may be. We hear about that, and we see that a lot in our people. And I think what you're saying, I think this is really cool about what we're doing now. It's like MJ Easy and Run the Play aren't new. It's just like the exposure of them to people, and it feels like to me we're getting more and more people on the boat rowing in the same direction. And I don't think anybody was rowing in the wrong direction on purpose to begin with. I think it's just if we haven't put that out there and kind of said this is what it is and this is how we're gonna do business, then people just do what they think is best. And
they come up with their own belief of what MJ Easy is, Run the Play. So we want to be able to tell them exactly what it is and get them involved and, show them what it means to make it easy and give examples of that. I think that is the push, right? I mean, to get it more out to the organization and to have a better understanding. Because a lot of times people, if they make a mistake or make an error, it's just because they didn't know. Yeah. They didn't know, number one, they could have the autonomy to go do, something to make it easier, right? I mean, we give a lot of autonomy around here. So when we hire people, a lot of people aren't used to that autonomy. They'll call and it's, hey, what do I need to do next? And a lot of times it's, well, what do you want to do?
What do you think? Yeah.
Right? So I think that is the big thing, is getting everybody involved and then having a better understanding, and then how do we contribute, right? As individuals.
Yeah, I think about our culture here is just, it's what makes this place so special. I was just telling somebody the other day, there's there's never a time that I walk down the hall that, I'm not interacting with someone, smiling at someone, saying good morning. People use my name, right? Going back to Dale Carnegie. And,
Shallon.
Yeah.
I know, they call me Shallon, and I answer to that too. I don't know if I've ever told you this story. I had just started, and Dewey was in the MJ Cafe getting coffee, and I walked in, and he said, "Good morning, Shallon," and I was like, "Good morning."
I'm not
I'll
saying
be
a
Shallon
word.
today.
That's right. That was, and still to this day, feel like I'm in a celebrity's presence when he's around. But I was just, it's just, there's not one person's office I can't walk into or stop in the hall and say, "Hey, I got a quick question for you," or could I get your help, for something, when you have a minute or whatnot. It's just, I don't know. It just is so, and I feel like people sometimes, when they haven't worked here for a long time, we all bring kind of our baggage from maybe previous experiences. And so I think getting this out to people helps them see and understand we trust you when you run the play and you make it easy for the customer. We trust you to make the right decisions, because one of the things we do is we hire people that we feel like we can trust to uphold our culture and to uphold our purpose. So I think my question is, MJ Easy and Run the Play, what part do you think they play in helping to shape our culture and continue to build this really strong foundation of what we already have?
I think that, peer-to-peer accountability, if we're going to say we're going to make it easy and that we're running the play, the managers can't be everywhere. I can't be everywhere. So the peer-to-peer accountability is paramount as far as like when you see something and if it's not making it easy or if it's not running the play, it's okay to say, "Hey, that's not making it easy for the homeowner." I think that's our biggest opportunity.
Yeah.
Because we have so many people out in the field that see what everybody else is doing. And we're human. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to get caught up in life. We're going to come in and have a bad day. That phone call matters, right? If somebody calls you and says, "Hey, I went behind and here's what I found, and we didn't make it as easy as what I thought we could have on that play," that is powerful whenever you get everybody in the organization having those conversations.
That is the best accountability. There's nothing like, you need to go tell your supervisor. I'm telling the supervisor that this happened. You need to go handle this. And it's like, bro, you right there. Go tell him right now.
And that's traditionally what happens, right? I mean, somebody will go tell the manager, and then the manager doesn't have a full understanding of what happened, and then the manager goes and has that conversation. That never ends well between the employee and the manager.
No.
Right? In most organizations, because if the manager's separated from the work and from the front line, they're just taking that feedback and then holding accountability without not truly knowing what's going on.
Yeah, my favorite conversations or things that I've witnessed is where someone comes and tells the manager, "Little Susie did X, Y, and Z." And then he's like, "Cool, what did you say?" And they're like, "I didn't say anything." Well, go let them know and then update me on how that conversation went. What?
And that's very unique.
Yeah.
I mean, and even we don't do that well here, but because it is tough, right? I mean, most people are going to look at the hierarchy and the chain of command and say, "That's not my part."
Yeah.
It may not be your part to discipline them or, have those kind of conversation, but you do have a part in making sure that we're making it easy and that we're running the play in all cases. And if we're not, it's okay to raise your hand and say, "Hey, we can improve this."
Yeah, I've often as thought about accountability more and more as it's almost like sometimes we hear that word and it's like a
negative.
Yeah.
It's thought of as in a negative way. And that's because that's what we're taught from a young age. You need to hold your kid accountable.
Yes.
They're over here screaming, and that's always been put as a negative. But really, accountability for me is having the relationship and being able to have that conversation. Not coming from a bad place, not trying to say that you're doing a bad job, but it's keeping our purpose in mind and understanding if we ran the play or not.
And even the relationship gets stronger. You would think it'd be the opposite, but the relationship gets stronger when you have those conversations.
Absolutely.
You can have those conversations. If we were to maybe not parachute up, but skyrocket up, I'm just so interested with the culture. We do have a great culture here, but if we look at culture, you said peer-to-peer accountability is a piece of that. What would you say are some other keys to a strong culture?
Well, number one, you got to protect it. right? I mean, of who's trying to get in the organization. I mean, what we do is not for everybody, right? If you give somebody full autonomy and say, I trust you, live by our core values, make it easy for the homeowner and run the play. A lot of people need more structure. They need more rules. They need more, to be able to run that play. So it's not, our culture is not for everybody. We get that, but our biggest thing is to protect that, right? And making sure that we're bringing people on the team that understand I have the ability to either make it easy right now, and I have the ability to run the play. So for me, it's all about protecting it, protecting what we have. Mm-hmm. Talking about the culture, when you said you never know what you're going to see around here, I was talking in the president's breakfast this morning, and I told him the same thing. And y'all hear me say this a lot. Like, if you're not going to have fun, you're probably not going to make it around here because it's tough. If somebody's not, a person that likes to have fun,
it's tough when we're having so much fun around here.
But I told him, I said, it wasn't that long ago. I was in there talking to Eddie Culvert, and I see out of the corner of my eye, and I'm like, what the heck was that? And somebody just walks by in a full-on Scream outfit. And I'm like, it ain't Halloween.
It was Randy.
It wasn't Randy.
It wasn't.
It wasn't Randy.
It's always the first guess.
I'm not sure who it was. Still don't know to this day who it was. But it was a random Tuesday, probably 9 o'clock in the morning, talking to Eddie, and I see out of the corner of my eye, and I'm like, what is that? Mm-hmm. And they just kind of looked over at me, and I'm like, what's up? And they just kept walking to the break room. Yeah. So you never know what you're going to see around here.
There's not many places you can do that. Walk past the freaking president.
Yeah, and the Scream mask.
What's up, cuz?
Yeah. Had me a little worried at first. I'm like,
oh, you want to talk about worried? When we had I think it was Tech Builder, and they were going around doing the goose chase around the building. They're going everywhere. I know they popped in your office, take a picture with the president. Oh, yeah. But it might have been when Brett was still here. He's like, yeah, we do pranks around here from time to time. And then a couple of them were like, we're going to go prank Brandon. And I was like, bro,
good luck.
Let me just tell you right now, I would advise against that, just because he's going to get you back 10 times worse. 10 times worse. You're not even going to know what hit you, but it was probably before or after that was when IT decided to come in your office in costume to try to throw you off, and he's like, I'm gonna watch all the videos. And he figured out who it was, and then it was just like the fart spray or the bomb that you did. What did you end up doing to him down there?
We had a couple of those confetti bombs, and then I just made a little extension on the end of my confetti bombs, and I had Shallon picked it up. Actually, I said, hey, I need blue,
co-conspirator,
gold, and white glitter. And she's like, well, I'm going to lunch. I'll go by Target. So she brought it back, and she's like, what's this for? And I said, I'm not telling you. So I made an extension on the end of the confetti, and I put the Morris-Jenkins colors on it. And the people that wanted to play a prank on me, I just walked by their area, full of glitter, popped the confetti, and all you could see whenever all the confetti came down, I could see that person sitting there in all blue. And then they just did the dog shake. Like that.
They did
and all the glitter went everywhere. So we don't mind getting into the prank wars at all. But if you think about that, I mean, and y'all hear me say it a lot, like the day I quit having fun, I'm not coming back. And, fortunately for 20 years, I've been able to have fun every day. But that's because, number one, we perform at a very high level, right? When you're performing at a high level, you need to cut loose a little bit. But also, I mean, most people go to work in the world stressed. They leave stressed. Like, they spend more time here than they do at home. So we gotta break it up a little bit and not make it so serious. Yeah, what we do is important. We do help homeowners that are in a tight bind. They have no AC at 11 o'clock at night on a Friday, and they just brought home a newborn baby. That's a recent example. So what we do is important, but too many times is it taken too seriously. Mm-hmm. And, what we're doing isn't going to have that massive of an impact where we can't have a little fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It sounds like fun's another piece of a strong culture. You got to have a little bit of fun.
Yeah. Well, you can only have fun when you're performing at a high level.
Yeah.
And all the new hires hear that. I mean, if we're not performing at a high level, how can you walk around having fun? It's no fun not hitting goals, not hitting targets, not providing the service that we promised to our homeowners. That's not fun.
Yeah.
And that's why we strive to make it easy. Mm-hmm. And if everybody runs the play, we will perform at a high level. It'll be easier for the internal employees and for our customers. and we get to have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it reminds me of like, so my husband Michael, he coaches tennis, and of course these are college kids, right? So if they're on a little bit of a losing streak, and he hears about them having fun on campus and doing all these things, he's like, obviously sometimes I have to be like, Michael, they're 18 and 19-year-old kids. Like adjust
In college.
That's right.
In college.
Adjust your expectations a little bit. But that's what that reminds me of is like, it's different if we're winning and then let's, within reason, let's celebrate, let's have fun, let's enjoy it. But it's the same thing. It's like, there has to be a balance there of those things.
Yeah, and we look at performing. I want everybody to hear me on this 100%. When I'm talking about performing, I'm not talking about numbers. Like, that's not what I mean by that. I'm talking about performing. Are we meeting our commitment to what we're saying? Are we matching what marketing's putting out there and not having that personality disorder? Are we making it easy for the homeowner, getting in and out, taking care of the problem so that they never have to see us again? Mm-hmm. That's what I mean by that. When we're performing and we're taking care of homeowners, that's what I mean. The numbers will be there if you do the right thing and take care of the homeowner.
Yeah. What most excites you about this direction that we're heading with MJ Easy, with Run the Play, just in general? What most excites you about the future or what comes next? Seeing
the growth in people. I mean, while, we are, pushing through with MJ Easy and trying to get that throughout the management team, which will have an impact to our customers. I mean, that is, one of the most important things. But for me personally, it's seeing the people grow, that they're, taking in more information, knowing that they can contribute more, knowing that they have the autonomy to bring up their good ideas, and they're learning from people. Guys, 10 years from now, that growth that we're seeing right now in individuals, I mean, that's why I come to work. I mean, that's what excites me, is to see their growth, because I know if they're growing, they will be able to provide more in the organization, and we can provide them more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's the same thing as they're growing, others are growing around
That's
them.
right.
You can't be around somebody that's going to be growing and pushing and just be like, oh, okay. Like you want to do better. You want to be better.
Unless you're hanging around 4 stumpy trees. And then you're going to be the stumpy tree.
Yes, tell us about stumpy trees.
Stumpy trees.
This is a Brandon Anderson.
It's not me, Jim Rome.
It was an addition. It was an addition.
It was an addition to what Jim Rome says.
Stumpy tree needs to be copyrighted, perhaps. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
Well, when I first heard it from Jim Rome, it was about 2012, and his quote, and I'm paraphrasing, is "Grow as tall as you can." And the question is how tall can a tree grow? And the answer is as tall as it possibly can. And he says he's never seen a tree half height. Only grew half the height it's supposed to. So I sat on that and thought about it for a while, and I'm like, man, I do not want to go in any of these departmental meetings. I do not want to go to any meeting at Morris-Jenkins or even walk in the door and be the one not growing as tall as I possibly can. Mm-hmm. And really, that's kind of what set my trajectory. Right? I refuse to be the stumpy tree. And I'm like, I got one shot. We're only here for one time. You got one shot at life. Then I'm going to pour it all in. And, that's the learning part and the growing part that we talk about, where we're a learning organization and a growing organization. The more we learn, the more we grow. And this is the organization that has the people around them that will help. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, we all have that kind of mindset. And when you're surrounded around people like that, you will grow. But if you're hanging around people that are only growing half as tall as they possibly can, that's where your growth is going to be. Mm-hmm. You're going to be the stumpy tree.
Yeah, I always think it's so cool when we start like a tech builder class or a build a plumber class. And you look out at those people and you're just like, this day today that you're starting here could change your life.
Oh, yes.
And it's because, we introduce ourselves at the beginning of class, and it's because you hear, so Rob's standing up there and Darren and Alan and David, and there's just, groups and groups and groups of people that get up there and introduce them. And I would say the majority of people say, I sat in your seat. Mm-hmm. the tech builders and builder plumbers, now they're taking in a whole lot, so I don't know if they even recognize this on those first days. But it's just so cool to hear person after person after person say, I was once sitting where you are. And now I'm Rob, who's been here for 16 years, and it's just that's this growth piece. And it doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't happen without people putting in the work. But you look out at them and you're like, this first day here at Morris-Jenkins could change the rest of your life.
Absolutely. I mean, it takes somebody seeing something in you that maybe you don't see. Rob probably never thought in a million years he'd be in the role that he's in now.
Water heater manager.
Water heater manager is what his career map said. But, you know, for me, it was like Rob needed somebody there to see what Rob could do and what was deep inside of Rob. I saw it. I think Rob saw a little bit of it, but as he continued to, you know, be here longer in different roles and everything else, it took me to be able to believe in him to help him get to where he's going, right? And it took a lot of people, David Smith, Dave Hearn, Dewey Jenkins, all the people I was around to believe in me, because I didn't think that I had the ability to go be a supervisor or be a manager or the COO or nothing. And that's our culture. I mean, we have people that can identify that, and they're going to be with you the whole journey.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I will say that people like yourself and others that poured into me, or at least were like, hey, this is possible, or hey, this is a talent that you have. Some of the stuff I wasn't even aware of. Mm-hmm. And it's really cool to be on the other side of that and see that same talent in other people here, whether it be in Tech Builder. There's some really, really cool cats down in Tech Builder right now, and you can start to see those little glimpses. You absolutely can see talents, but it is surprising sometimes when you ask somebody, hey, did you know that was a talent for you? I'm like, no idea. Mm-hmm. But that's the start of the journey, because it's, hey, just grow that. Spend time in it. You've always said if you want to get better at finances, study finances.
That's right.
Anything that you want to get better in, just spend time and focus on it. It will grow over time.
Learn it.
Yeah.
If you learn it. And, I mean, for me, it's not necessarily the roles that you've had, Rob, or anybody else that reported to me that went on to different roles. It's not about the role. It's who you've become.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Right? So I just want everybody to understand that. It's not about working on yourself to go chase a new role. You weren't chasing a role, right? I was the one probing you and saying, give me your career map. Where do you see that you're going to be in the next few years? And you went home and drew that map. He wanted to be the water heater manager we talked about on the last podcast. But you were just scratching for something, right? You were trying to figure out, what could I do? But it's not necessarily the roles you've had. It's the person you become along that journey. Mm-hmm. So you can be in the same role for a long time and still learn and grow and become a better person. And if you learn and grow in that role, you will become more valuable, right? You're going to be more valuable at home. You're going to be more valuable here. You're going to become a better person overall.
Yeah, there's somewhere, I don't know if this is in Mr. Jenkins Told Me or in First Break All the Rules or in some other book that I've read.
You read too many books.
But even, I think maybe it is, Dewey, that said we're working on the person, like you're saying, even if eventually that means the person is not even at Morris-Jenkins anymore.
That's right.
It's if we have left you better than you were, than you stepped through when you first stepped through these doors, yep, then we've done, that's so different. I mean, I just think that in of itself is, just like everybody else, you know, I brought my own baggage from the education world, and in the education world, it's like, climb. You can't just like be, I mean, you can, but it's
not valued the same way.
Yes.
Right there. You almost have to go to that next level to get, you know, what you're looking for as far as that attention, somebody believing in you, working with you. So it is different. For me, the roles don't matter. You know, y'all have heard me say that a long time. Mm-hmm. It's, you know, do it now. Don't worry about the role. Become the person that you want to become. The role will come later. And a lot of people just don't know what they want that role to be.
Yeah.
You know, and they got to figure that out sometimes. But while you're trying to figure it out, find some tall trees, mm-hmm, and hang around those tall trees. Don't hang around the stumpy trees.
Mm-hmm.
Brandon, you've always been good at finding things in people and growing that. What is it that you typically look for in someone that's ready to grow?
Well, all of you've had a lot of tests, right? Everything I do is usually a test. So if I give you a book or anything else, that's test number one. Did they take that information? Were they curious? Did they come back and want to talk about it? I've given out a lot of books just in the past 2-3 months. And some of the people probably listening to this podcast are probably like, oh, man, he's talking about me and I didn't bring the book back. But a lot of that is, right? It's just trying to see, is that something that naturally is in them? Because not everybody wants to learn that stuff or grow that stuff. You know what I mean? They just want to come in, do their job very well, and then go home, to their home life. So for me, it's, looking at what shows up every day. And then when you give it those little tests and you say, read this book, or have you thought about this? What are you going to do over the next 5 years? What's your 5-year plan? That stumps a lot of people. But if you can continue to have those conversations and those conversations improve, the next time you come in and it's like, I'm not asking you what you want to do for the next 5 years. You're telling me, here's my plan. Here's what I'm thinking. I just want to bounce these ideas off of you. So it's really what shows up every day. We all are unique. I mean, we're all unique. I bring something different to the table than y'all bring. I have tons of weaknesses. Y'all know that. Everybody knows that. I think I tell everybody.
Yeah, you do.
But that's okay,
Yeah.
right? That's okay. It's understanding what do we bring to the table that's good. And then you just got to be aware, be observant. What do you see every day? Ask the right questions. And then how do you put them in a position to where they can work on that every day? Whatever it is that you're seeing that they're showing up every day doing.
Yeah, that's another thing I love about this place is that, we take people imperfectly because we all are imperfect. And then wherever people are, that's where we meet them. And like you said, give them a little bit and see where that goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think everybody does want to come to work and become better. Like going back to what I said, like don't take it that way that people don't want to do more. It's just some people aren't as interested in learning behavior or learning about conflict or processes or any of that. That's okay. Perfectly okay. That doesn't mean you can't do valuable things and become somebody very crucial to our success, and not be managing people.
Yep.
And I think that's what a lot of people, when they think about MJ Easy running the play, if I learn these things, it's going to help me get to another role. And that's not it at all. Mm-hmm. Not it at all.
Not long ago, I had somebody that was new here. They said, Rob, what do I do? What do I have to do to become a manager? Like they were already
chasing it,
focused on what's next.
And you're like, skirt.
Yeah, dial it back, big dog.
Let's ask a few questions.
And it is interesting, and I'm sure both of y'all have seen it in interviews. It's, I'm growth minded. I want to be a manager. I want to do this. And it is like dial it back. Let's look at what talents you have. And the conventional wisdom side of the next step is always become a manager. That's how you continue to grow. And I've seen so many examples of it here where, hey, there's something else that's in the cards for you and you don't have to manage people. Heck, some of the times it's like, you really want to be a manager? Beautiful. How about you go shadow a manager or a supervisor for a day and just go hang out? And they come back and like, this sucks. Like, this is really hard. And you're like, right. If you want to do that every day, then let's talk about it. And then what other options do I have? Then you actually look at their talents and it's like, this would actually be something that you would enjoy every single day. And it would be more effortless for you and you could bring immense value to the organization. So I think it is really cool to see when people have that mindset shift, but it takes someone helping them to see that so they can adjust.
Yep. Take somebody seeing it in them and working with them and asking the right questions. And what do they want? Right after they become manager, then what? You know what I mean? It doesn't stop there. And I think that's where a lot of people chase it. They chase that next rung on the ladder. And then it's like, okay, then what? And when you ask that question, that stumps a lot of people. I'll help you get to manager, then what?
Yeah, I remember the story of Corey Evans. Okay, now you're a COD tech.
He wanted to be a COD tech. He came in my office and he was like, we're about halfway through the year, I think. And we don't move a lot of people halfway through the year. And he came in my office and he was just like, I want to be a COD tech. I'm like, why? Well, because I want to be a COD tech, right? That's kind of
it's the next step.
Yeah, it's the next step. I said, okay. So I gave him a sticky note that said COD tech. But then we had the conversation about the why. Like, why do you really want to do it? What's the purpose that you really want to do it? And we had a great conversation. And then if you look at Corey at that time, I mean, he went and put in all the work. put in the work, went to become a COD tech, that following year, and continued to work, and now he's one of our supervisors.
Yep.
But he knew what he wanted. He just had to be patient and figure out, well, then what's next, right? Once you become a COD tech, then what?
Then what?
Yep. I love that story. That too is just, to me, just speaks to how different. I mean, that's just a different conversation that I think people would have normally.
Yeah. I don't know how kosher it is. Like
When you write down
HR
COD
when
on
I
a
write down
Post-it.
COD tech on a sticky note. But that goes and shows like how intertwined we are with our frontline people. Mm-hmm. I mean, even today, if somebody came and asked me that, and if it was a tech builder or build a plumber, I'd probably write them a sticky note because I talked to them. It's not like that they're people that I don't know, and I think that that's unique in this organization to where you can have that kind of conversation and being, fun about it or whatever. That doesn't happen in most organizations.
Yeah, no,
I want to be a COD tech. No, go back to work.
right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what it traditionally is.
Yeah. It always makes me think of, in First Break All the Rules, they talk about like tough love feedback.
Yeah.
To me, that's exactly what that is. We're going to have a tough conversation because I'm going to ask you some difficult questions, but at the same time, I'm asking you these questions because I care about you.
Yep.
And I don't want to see you in a position where you're not fulfilled, you're not motivated, you're not bringing joy both here and at home. So I think I feel like that's one thing that you get here more of than probably other places is the ability to have like those tough love conversations.
Well, and I mean, it's not just people in management, not my role, just y'all's role. I mean, the relationships we have around here and iron sharpening iron goes far
So
beyond than what we know. There are so many frontline people and groups, that are continuing to sharpen those skills. And that's not normal to organizations either.
Yep.
Right? They're waiting on the organization to give them the education, the training,
Right.
the opportunity. But you walk down our halls, you're going to see people piled up in the conference rooms. You're going to see them at cubicles talking, and that's what's happening, right? They're iron sharpening iron.
As old Dennis would say, our iron sharpens iron.
Iron
right.
sharpens iron.
That's right.
That's right. Okay. Well, I feel like we went down
A lot of paths.
We did.
We went down a lot of
We
That's all right.
did. We
I
did.
went off my notes.
My notes didn't have hardly anything about what we talked about, but this was really great. It was. I certainly would encourage people to go back and listen to the first episode where they can learn more about you. I still feel like I remember the story about the brothers in the window. There was some story you told about that, which would connect over here to this prank situation that we talked about.
Well, I mean, on that first podcast, I think we talked about a lot of pranks, and that just kind of runs through my family. It might have been the one where my brother came through the bathroom window with a knife and stuck it in the shower.
Yes.
My other brother came flying down the hallway, buck naked, into the living room while I'm watching TV because we just watched Halloween, I think is what it was, Friday the 13th.
That's the way to do it.
So, it was always entertaining, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yes, I would encourage people to go back and listen to that one so you can learn more about Brandon. But then also, I just think it's nice now, and like I said, we're gonna do a better job of having you on here and just having these kind of conversations
Yeah.
because I think, like we talked about, getting everybody, giving some clarity around MJ Easy and running the play and.
Well, and, for anybody that listens to this, the one thing that I do want them to get out of it is that, when you think about MJ Easy and Run the Play, we couldn't cover everything in the time that we spent here today.
Yeah.
Right? There's a lot more that we can discuss on it. But they can go to any manager, any supervisor, even come to my office or your offices and, they can ask those questions. But when you talk about Running the Play and MJ Easy, those two are intertwined. Mm-hmm. And when you look at MJ Easy, it literally is we are all consumers. We all have had those bad experiences. So what can you do to prevent those or enhance our experience, enhance our processes? And Running the Play, like I said, is so much bigger than just, doing your processes in accounting, doing your processes in dispatch. It's much bigger than that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's much bigger than that. It's kind of how you should be living, right? I mean, that's the way I look at it. Am I running the play at home? Am I running the play here at work? Am I doing what I should? Am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? It's not just one part of my job, one part of my life. Mm-hmm. It's just not.
Yeah, the two, like you said, the two are too intertwined.
Yeah.
Brandon at home and Brandon at work, no matter, they're too connected.
Yeah.
Yeah, for them not to be.
And even what you said earlier with the two, MJ Easy and Run the Play, are so interconnected. I laughed too whenever it was like, okay, you were walking past the library and it's like, okay, Run the Play or MJ Easy, is the chicken or the egg? Which one should we talk about first? And he's like, well, they're both the same. Or they're both tied together. And it's like, we're going to talk about both of them at the same time.
Mm-hmm. And I do think that's one thing Brandon and I have talked a lot about lately is working through and starting to help people see more of those connections, because none of it happens by chance. It's just everything is so connected.
They are. And I think that's where we miss a lot. And I think me and you spending more time around the Winter Series and everything else, that's where I think you're seeing it like all connect even more than what we've shown in the past. And that's what we want to show. And that's why we're doing the podcast and we're going to talk about it more is how can we get everybody to understand how all that's connected? Not just MJ Easy, Run the Play, but a lot of the other things that we talk about around here. Right. They're all connected. And a lot of times we compartmentalize those. It's MJ Easy or Run the Play or whatever else we're talking about. And a lot of times they're all lumped together. And if you don't do one, the other ones suffer.
Yeah. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too.
Yep. It's going to be great.
We'll talk about iron sharpens iron. Oh, big Ron Patrick.
Oh, let's see what Ron left me a question for.
Y'all.
And I get to come up with one too, right?
That's right.
All right.
And listen, Ron had no idea that he was going to be leaving a question for the president of the company. I can't wait till
I feel like
hears
he would have
this.
probably still left the same question. It's a good
probably
one. So Big Ron says, has your definition of happiness changed as you've gotten older?
Oh man, he's like, that's deep.
I know.
I was expecting like something joking. Repeat it one more time.
Sure. Has your definition of happiness changed as you've gotten older?
I think that as I've gotten older, there's little things that bring me happiness that maybe I overlooked, whenever I was maybe a little bit younger. And an example would be like now, whenever we go out of town and I'm driving 4 hours, I find so many things along that 4-hour journey that like I missed before. And it might be, a scenery or just hearing the kids talk in the back or, listening to the radio together. I'm like everybody else. You get so caught up in life and you're so busy, I was missing a lot of the small moments. So for me, as I've gotten older, I feel like it's the little things that, bring me more happiness now than the one big thing or the big events. It's all the little things.
The everyday moments.
Yeah.
That kind of, they build up to joy.
Oh, Casey, she says I'm going to be a weird old man. And because at the house, we had a lot of deer that come. And I have them on camera, and I'll just look at them and coyotes. And it's like, I'm looking at them all the time. I just think that it's, neat and being able to see, how they go around the woods. You never see them, right? They're everywhere, but you never see them. So I sent her a picture or a video of I think we had a deer walking across the driveway, and I sent it to her because Abel and Georgia, they've seen a few of them, and long story. But her reply is like, you're going to be such a weird man, old man.
You're creeping on
but
deer
those
in
are
the
the little
backyard.
things that I find happiness now. You know what I mean? It's the little things of just seeing those small things, and it's like, I need to slow down more and appreciate those small things.
Maybe you'll be a bird watcher.
Nah, I don't know about that.
He'll have another pet squirrel before you know it.
I did have, I got a pet squirrel. We got eaten by the hawk, but he did. That's what I'm assuming. I mean, he goes out to use the bathroom every other day, and then you look at the screen door, and you got this little squirrel sitting there, and let him out one day, and then he just never came back.
Oh,
didn't you?
Circle of life.
He had an interesting name, didn't he?
I don't even remember his name.
I thought you told me your squirrel's name was Squirrel.
Probably was. I was going to say, because when you said the name, I'm like, I don't think I gave that name.
His name was Squirrel.
Yeah, it was just brown or gray squirrel.
There you go. We're back. It's coming back.
first and last.
So I get to ask the question now, right?
That's right. You just leave a question for the next guest.
And I didn't prepare any of this, but something happened yesterday, and I was asked a question. And this shows our culture. It shows our people. It shows how we operate around here. So I was just minding my own business, walking down the hall, past Eddie Culvert's office again, and there were a few plumbers in there, and they stopped me and they said, hey, I got a question. When you wear an undershirt, do you tuck it in your underwear or in your pants? So that's the question I'm gonna leave for the next guest.
Fantastic.
I love it.
Fantastic.
And they had a full on 5 or 10 minute discussion, and then I just had to walk off. I'm like, how do you walk down the hall? And I'm going to look for Mark Cagle. We were talking about something, and then I get stopped, and it's like, hey, we got a question. We got a debate going on here. Do you tuck your undershirt in your underwear or just in your pants? And I'm like, what are y'all talking about?
Of course I tuck it in my underwear.
So they let them all have the debate, and I said, man, I don't know what they're talking about over there. But that's going to be for our next guest.
Okay.
And, we'll see who the next guest is.
That's right.
Lucky them.
Yeah, lucky them.
That's right.
But you have to give them some context.
Okay.
You have to
Part of
remember the
me-
context.
Part of me hopes it's Casey.
Yes.
I was just going to say,
Yes.
you are a weird old man. Here we are.
Part of me really hopes that it's Casey. That's going to be so funny.
Well, I'll be curious what the answer is.
Yeah,
Now
me too.
that's going to be my question from now on. You see techs in their uniforms and they got their white undershirt.
Yeah.
That uniform looks great on you. I just have one question. Is your undershirt in your underwear or in your pants?
Just have to know.
I think that's somewhat HR. Somewhat.
Well, this has been great. Thank you so much for taking time to come in and chat with us, and I think people are going to really enjoy hearing from you.
Well, I appreciate it, and I'm not sure if everybody knows. I know that we've met and discussed, but I'm not sure anybody listening knows this. But we're changing the podcast a little bit, being more intentful. Have me on here, tactical team members. We're meeting about what the content will be. So I think this year we'll be able to get a lot of information out to the organization and share a lot of good things.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's going to be great.
Yeah, I appreciate your time.
Yeah.
This has been awesome.
Thanks.
I
Okay,
want my
guys.
makeup next time.
Oh, I know. Me too. Who's good?
I
Maybe
noticed my forehead was a little dry when I walked in, and I'm like,
maybe
slacking.
maybe we could. There's got to be somebody up there that has a talent in makeup artistry.
Oh, I'm sure there's somebody out there.
Yeah.
We should do that on the next one. We should let somebody do makeup on you. I'll come back and let
Why do I
somebody do
need
makeup
makeup?
on
Why
me.
do I need
because
makeup?
we should just sit here. I'll get my mullet. Y'all can do the makeup, and we'll just do the whole thing in mullets and makeup.
We could record the whole makeup session, do a little
The
time lapse.
M&M podcast, mullet and makeup.
Done deal.
That's right. Sign us up. We'll put that on the planner when we plan later today.
Screw whoever's next is screwed.
Right.
They're so screwed.
Exactly right. All right. Well, we appreciate you, Brandon. We'll have you back again soon. For everybody listening, don't forget to follow us on Spotify and Apple and YouTube so you never miss an episode. Thank you so much for listening. Until we see you again, peace, love, and easy does it.
Hey, appreciate y'all.